Okay guys, in this tutorial we're gonna talk about variables. What are variables anyway? Well, they are names for containers, and purpose of those containers will be to hold data. How you are going to provide data, it's really not important now because we are beginners. Through keyboard, direct input from Excel file, from textual file, from MySQL database, SQLite file, network connection, it's really not important. We need to learn basics, right? How we are going to construct that name? Are there any rules? Well, for example, in C Sharp, you're gonna say something like this. Container. It's totally up to you what you're going to use. But container for, let's say, name is a C Sharp way, and let's give it some kind of beautiful name like Natalie. Natalie is a really beautiful name. And in Python, for example, you have different approach. Well, it depends. It's totally up to you. But this is Pythonish way. Like container for name equals, pretty much same approach here. But because we are in C Sharp, we're gonna use this way, like a lowercase letter and then uppercase every time when you start some other part of variable. So is this enough? Okay, if we press F5, we're gonna end up into problem. See, problem. And do we have anything here? The name container for name does not exist in the current context. Well, how when we actually have it right here? Well, the thing is that we need to define data type. So this is string. String is a bunch of characters, a bunch of words. So here we need to add something, data type. In this case, it's string. Okay, and now F5 will be totally fine. Of course, no results, because it is not enough to have variable, you actually need to use it. You are not forced to use it, but if you have it, then why not to use it? There are different scenarios, but yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's use this thing. How? Well, we are going to print it. So console.write line. And now there is no need to grab this thing like real Natalie between quotes and put it here, because that will be not cool. Why when you have general container where you can change those things? So here you're just going to say container for name, and in drop down you can just navigate because there is no need to type that much, and semicolon, don't forget that, because both of these things are actually instructions, very important stuff. F5, and now you're gonna see Natalie on the screen, I mean name. So how many of these things we can have? Well, it's totally up to you, many. So let's shorten this stuff. Let's call it CFN, or just name, let's say, just name, and there must be space here. Okay, let's create another one that will also be string, but it will be last name, let's say. And last name also must be beautiful, so we are going to say Dormer, Natalie Dormer from Game of Thrones. Okay, and down there we must, because we have changed our variables, we must change also that thing down there, because if you press F5 there is no that variable, right? So see down there, 0 succeeded, 1 failed. Okay, and the name container for name does not exist in the current context, right? So let's say name, and to save a little bit of time we're gonna copy paste this instruction, and down there we're gonna say last name. Drop down will get the job done, F5, and now you're gonna have both of these on individual lines. Why on individual lines? Because the task of write line method is to print something, whatever is between brackets, and then push vertically one line below. So you can continue with further operations. But question is, how to connect these things on a one line? Well, you do have another method that will not go to the next line. It will spit everything on a one line. So let's do that. Console, okay, dot, and write. But just write, guys, just write. And now if you say name, you can target same stuff. And if you say last name, Then observe what's gonna happen. Those things will be very ugly concatenated here. So the difference is that right line will go one level down vertically, and right will grab whatever it is and it will spit it on a one line. Okay, well, this is not a true form of concatenation. So when we talk about that, let's handle that thing. And for simplicity reasons, I'm gonna put these things into comments because I don't want them to be operative, right? Okay, so concatenation, connection of left and right side, let's say, of variables. Let's do that. Console dot right line, and here you're gonna say name and plus last name. Last name, end of instruction, F5, result. It's working, okay, Natalie Dormer is connected, but you don't have space. So how to create space and not use additional method? Well, very easy. Here you can say plus, and here you can say this, but F5, again you're gonna have concatenation, because you must have something between these quotes. In this case, we just need a space to have, let's say, grammatically correct sentence. F5, and there you go. Now you do have space. Can you use something else here? Well, sure, you can use whatever you like. I'm gonna use like this arrow emulation, let's say, F5, and you're gonna see that thing. Okay, and now if you need a space, then you can do this and the thing will work with spaces. There you go. Okay. Question: can you use some kind of custom report here on the left side? For example, let me remove this. We don't need it anymore, so 1+ will get the job done. But on the left side, you need some kind of custom explanation to end user if you're creating very basic DOS application. Well, yes, you can say custom report or something else. It's really not important. We are practicing. And if you use comma here, like you can have in Python, then the problem is this custom report, there you go, but you don't have real results. So plus is a must in C#. Okay, Natalie Dormer concatenated. That's kinda ugly. Okay, let's return to normal. Little bit of space. That's cool. That will work. Let me check that. Okay, cool. Can you have like this thing on the right side? Yes. Something more. And if you wanna prevent like gluing something more to last name, then just have space here, and then you will have correct sentence. See? Space, something more. Because if you don't have that space, last name and something more will be concatenated. I'm definitely sure you get this right now. Question: can you change these things down there and use it again? Well, let's test that. We're going to say last name, that is equal to x66, for example. It's really not important what it is. And now what's gonna happen when we say, for example, console, right line, last name. I'm gonna copy paste to save a little bit of time. Now result will be whatever is last, and last is x66. So whatever is last will do have priority. Okay, what about numbers? Can you define them down there? Yes, but better idea will be to define them at the top of your script, of your program. Well, the numbers are not characters, are not strings. So how and what is the data type? Well, it is integer when we talk about whole numbers. So let's give it some kind of name like some number, pretty much self-explanatory, and that thing must be not surrounded with semicolon because it is a number. You're gonna use not semicolon, you're gonna use quotes only when we talk about characters, individual characters, single quotes, and double quotes for strings. So let's use this thing down there. I'm gonna just grab this to save time, and we are printing some number. F5, and you will see 50 down there. Cool, that works. What's next? What's gonna happen if you need constant? And constant is something that doesn't change. For example, you have voltage or in some kind of electronics, and you're gonna set 220 volt, 110, 5 volts for chargers, USB or something like that, 12 volts for batteries, for radios, I don't know, accumulators. So the constant must be, that voltage, let's say, must be always available as fixed number. It must be not changed down there. Well, in that case, we're gonna say up here or down there, if you like that, we're gonna say const, right? And immediately you see blue letters. When you see that, we're talking about integrate keyword that is part of C#, right? So const, and what is a data type? It is integer, and let's call it voltage, and let's give it a 12. You don't need to say 12 volts here. No. Volts is this. It is named for this thing, whatever it is. So close it because it is instruction, and we are going to use it down there through variable. Let's say variable. What was it? Voltage. F5, and you're gonna see 12. Right. If you, for some very weird reason, wanna change that thing, that will not be possible. For example, here voltage equals 24. That will probably kill your electronics. F5 and problem. They were built errors, so problem. When you say no, probably here you're gonna see error, right? If you don't see errors, you can browse between these options here, and you will see one. So build only one. There you go. The left-hand side of an assignment must be variable, property, or integer, and not constant. So you cannot change it, you cannot use it. That's pretty much it. Well, guys, I don't want to go to 10 minutes or 15 tutorials or even more. I'm gonna shut up here. See you in next tutorial, where we're gonna talk about data types, because we do have strings, but we do have individual characters, and we do have let's say precise numbers, not just 50 but 50.5 or 50.12345, 3.14, something like that, because that is important for pricing, financial stuff, for precise mechanic when you're doing some CNC programming, I don't know. Anyway, next tutorial dedicated for data types. Thank you for watching, and see you next one. Ciao.